Have you ever dropped a single penny into a jar without a second thought? What if that ordinary-looking 1970 Lincoln 1 cent could be the coin that changes your financial future forever? Somewhere in America, one of these tiny copper coins could still be hiding in a forgotten drawer, an old coffee can, or even mixed into pocket change, waiting for someone who knows exactly what to look for. And that's why you should never spend another 1970 penny until you've heard this story. The Denver Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents in 1970, making most examples common. But hidden among those countless coins are a handful of extraordinary pieces that collectors fiercely compete to own. The difference between an ordinary penny and a remarkable one often comes down to tiny details that most people overlook. A dramatic double die appearance, an off-center strike, a broad strike, a clipped planchet, or other genuine mint errors can transform a 1-cent coin into a prize worth thousands. And in exceptional circumstances, collectors have associated elite examples with astonishing values approaching an incredible $971,000. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? That's exactly what thousands of people once thought before rare coins began breaking auction records. The funniest part is that many valuable coins were almost spent on a cup of coffee. Imagine explaining that story at dinner. Nobody wants to be that person. Before excitement takes over, slow down and inspect carefully. Look closely at Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the date, and especially the D-mint mark. Search for unusual doubling, missing design details, striking abnormalities, or surfaces that remain remarkably well preserved. Condition matters enormously. A sharply struck coin with brilliant original color can command dramatically higher prices than a heavily worn example, even without spectacular errors. Here's where the story becomes even more fascinating. Every year, collectors search relentlessly for overlooked treasures because new discoveries continue to emerge from old collections, inherited coin jars, estate sales, and forgotten piggy banks. That means the next remarkable find doesn't have to come from a millionaire's collection. Could come from yours. Now imagine opening an old family box and spotting a worn envelope labeled Pennies. Most people would smile, close the box, and move on. Experienced collectors would do the opposite. They would examine every single coin because they understand that life-changing discoveries rarely announce themselves. And here's the final twist. The greatest value isn't created by believing every 1970 penny is worth a fortune. It's created by knowing which tiny characteristics separate an everyday coin from an extraordinary collectible. Knowledge is what transforms loose change into hidden wealth. So before another 1970 Lincoln cent disappears into circulation forever, take a closer look. That forgotten penny sitting quietly in your home may not just be another coin. It could be the discovery that rewards patience, changes expectations, and reminds you that extraordinary opportunities often arrive disguised as something everyone else ignored. Have you ever dropped a penny into a jar without even looking at it? What if that ordinary 1-cent coin was quietly holding the power to change your financial future? Thousands of Americans spend 1978 Lincoln pennies every single day, never realizing that a tiny detail could separate a common coin from one that collectors eagerly pursue. Before you assume every 1978 penny is worth just 1 cent, stay with me, because what you're about to discover might completely change the way you look at your pocket change. The 1978 Lincoln 1-cent coin without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, where millions entered circulation. At first glance, it appears completely ordinary. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait has become so common that most people never stop to inspect it. That is exactly why remarkable discoveries continue to happen. Hidden among everyday coins are exceptional examples with unusual characteristics that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary premiums for. Now comes the exciting part. Condition changes everything. A brilliantly preserved 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with original mint luster can command far more than worn examples. Add a dramatic mint error such as an off-center strike, a broad strike, a double die, or other authenticated production mistake, and suddenly the coin enters an entirely different league. Here's the surprising part. Most valuable coins are overlooked because people search too quickly. They glance once, shrug, and spend the coin. Imagine walking away from a life-changing opportunity because you were in a hurry to buy a cup of coffee. That's not just painful. That's the kind of story nobody wants to tell. Some reports and online claims suggest that exceptionally rare, one-of-a-kind 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln cents with extraordinary errors and elite professional grades have reached astonishing asking prices approaching $978,000. While such figures represent extremely rare situations rather than ordinary market values, they remind collectors why careful examination matters. Every remarkable auction begins with someone noticing what everyone else ignored. So before you dismiss that old penny, ask yourself one question. Have you really looked at it, or have you simply assumed it couldn't be valuable? Sometimes the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary discovery is nothing more than a magnifying glass and a few extra seconds of attention. The next time you receive change at the grocery store, open that forgotten coin jar, or sort through an inherited collection, slow down. Look closely for sharp details, original surfaces, unusual striking errors, and exceptional preservation. The treasure you're searching for may have been sitting in your home for years, quietly waiting for someone who understands its true significance. And if that someone is you, today's ordinary penny could become tomorrow's unforgettable discovery. The coin sitting in your pocket right now could be the one that changes everything. It sounds impossible, but history has proven that ordinary-looking Lincoln cents have shocked collectors with astonishing auction prices. Before you spend another 1979 Lincoln penny without taking a closer look, ask yourself one question. What if you were holding a coin that everyone else overlooked? The 1979 Lincoln 1 cent was struck in enormous numbers at the Denver Mint, making most examples worth only face value. But hidden among millions are the rare exceptions that keep experienced collectors searching every single day. Those extraordinary coins stand out because of exceptional condition, dramatic minting errors, or highly unusual characteristics that separate them from the ordinary. That is where the real excitement begins. Imagine finding an old jar of pennies in the garage. Most people would cash them in without a second thought. A collector sees something completely different. Every coin becomes a mystery waiting to be solved. That's the difference between spending history and discovering it. Now here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Some rare error coins have sold for remarkable prices, and stories of six-figure auction results continue to inspire collectors across America. You may even hear claims of values approaching $979,000 for extraordinary examples, but those figures depend on exceptional rarity, authentication, and competitive bidding rather than the typical 1979 penny. That means every detail matters. Look carefully for dramatic off-center strikes, doubled lettering, die cracks, clipped planchets, or other genuine mint errors. Examine the surfaces under good lighting. A coin with sharp details, original luster, and minimal wear will always attract more attention than a heavily circulated example. The smallest difference can completely transform a collector's opinion. Still watching? Good. Because this is where many people make their biggest mistake. They clean the coin. Nothing destroys collector appeal faster than harsh cleaning. That shiny penny might actually lose value if its original surfaces are damaged. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes doing absolutely nothing is the smartest move. As the market for rare coins continues to attract passionate buyers, competition for exceptional examples remains strong. Every year, overlooked treasures emerge from old collections, forgotten drawers, and family inheritance boxes. The next discovery could happen anywhere, and that's exactly why experienced collectors never stop looking. So before another handful of pennies disappears into a cash register or coin counting machine, slow down and inspect every 1979 Lincoln cent you find. One careful examination could reveal a fascinating piece of American minting history, and in the rarest circumstances, an exceptionally valuable collectible. The greatest treasures are often hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to recognize what everyone else ignored. Today, that person could be you. Imagine finding a simple 1-cent coin hiding in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even sitting unnoticed in your pocket change, only to discover it could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Most people see a 1987 Lincoln penny and think, it's just a penny. But what if that tiny piece of copper-colored history was actually hiding a secret that collectors around the world would pay thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to own? The 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of those coins that captures the imagination of treasure hunters and everyday Americans searching for hidden value. But the real story is not just about the date on the coin. It is about the possibility that a small mistake, an unusual feature, or a rare condition could transform an ordinary penny into an extraordinary discovery. In 1987, millions of Lincoln pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins made there traditionally carried no mint mark, which means the absence of a letter under the date is completely normal. But in the world of coin collecting, normal does not always mean worthless. Sometimes the smallest details create the biggest opportunities. Collectors know that rare coins are not valuable simply because they are old. They become valuable because of scarcity, condition, unusual characteristics, and demand. A tiny difference that most people would never notice can become the very thing that separates a common coin from a collector's dream. Now here is where things get interesting. Have you ever looked through your spare change and wondered how many people have spent valuable coins without realizing it? It happens more often than you might think. Someone could have a rare penny sitting in a coffee can, while another person spends their fortune 1 cent at a time. It sounds crazy, but history has proven that overlooked coins can create unbelievable surprises. The excitement surrounding certain 1987 Lincoln pennies comes from the search for unique examples, including coins with unusual minting characteristics, striking errors, or exceptional preservation. A perfectly preserved example with rare qualities can attract serious attention from collectors and investors. Some highly desirable examples in the marketplace have reached incredible prices, with top estimates and speculative values reaching as high as $987,000 depending on rarity, condition, and verification. But before you start checking every penny in your house and planning your dream vacation, remember this: not every 1987 penny is a hidden fortune. The true treasures are the unusual ones that stand apart from millions of ordinary coins. That is why experienced collectors carefully examine details, compare examples, and rely on professional evaluations. The biggest mistake people make is assuming that small coins cannot create big opportunities. Throughout history, rare pennies have changed hands for remarkable amounts because someone took the time to look closer. So the next time you find a Lincoln penny from 1987 with no mint mark, do not immediately toss it aside. Look at it differently. That little coin represents history, possibility, and the thrill of discovery. Because sometimes, the difference between an ordinary penny and a valuable treasure is just one small detail waiting to be found. Keep searching, keep learning, and remember that the next great coin discovery could be sitting right in your hands. Imagine finding a small copper-colored coin hiding in your pocket change, a coin most people would ignore, and discovering it could be connected to a fortune worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It sounds impossible, but throughout history, ordinary coins have become extraordinary treasures because of one simple factor: rarity. And today, we are uncovering the mystery behind the 1992 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters searching for hidden value. The first question you should ask yourself is this: could a penny sitting in an old jar, a forgotten collection, or even a family drawer be worth far more than its 1-cent face value? Most people spend pennies without a second thought. They disappear into cash registers, car cup holders, and couch cushions. But collectors know something most people don't. A tiny detail, a rare mistake, or an unusual feature can completely transform a common coin into a valuable piece of American history. The 1992 D. Lincoln penny was produced at the Denver Mint, carrying the famous D mint mark beneath the date. Millions of these pennies were created, and at first glance, many appear completely ordinary. But in the world of coin collecting, ordinary is often where the biggest surprises begin. The real excitement comes from searching for special characteristics that separate everyday coins from rare discoveries. Collectors carefully examine details like the lettering, the spacing between designs, the condition of the surface, and possible minting mistakes created during production. Sometimes, a tiny difference that most people would never notice can become the reason a coin attracts serious attention from buyers and collectors. And here is where the story becomes fascinating. A coin that spent decades unnoticed can suddenly become the center of a bidding battle. Think about that for a moment. A penny that may have been handled by countless people could one day become the coin everyone wants to own. It is almost like finding a forgotten treasure map, except the treasure is already sitting right in your hand. But before you start searching every penny in your house and planning your early retirement, remember this. Not every 1992 Lincoln penny is worth a fortune. Condition, rarity, authenticity, and unique characteristics are what determine a coin's true value. A damaged or heavily circulated coin may be worth only a small amount, while an exceptional example with rare qualities can attract much greater interest. This is why experienced collectors never judge a coin by its appearance alone. They investigate, they research, they look for the details hidden beneath the surface. Because history has proven again and again that valuable discoveries are often hiding in places people overlook. The possibility of finding a rare 1992 Lincoln penny creates a powerful reminder. Sometimes wealth is not always found in expensive possessions. Sometimes it is hidden in the small things we ignore every day. So before you throw away old coins, empty that forgotten jar, or dismiss the pennies sitting around your home, take another look. That little piece of metal may not just be spare change. It may be a piece of American history waiting to be discovered. The next valuable coin could already be closer than you think. The only question is, will you recognize it before someone else does? Imagine finding a simple 1-cent coin hiding in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even your pocket change, only to discover that this tiny piece of copper could be connected to a value approaching nearly $1 million. It sounds impossible, almost like something from a movie, but for collectors searching through America's coins, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary can sometimes be hidden in the smallest details. The 1994 Lincoln 1-cent penny is a fascinating example of how everyday money can become a collector's treasure. Millions of these pennies were produced, and most are worth only their face value. But the right combination of condition, rarity, and unique characteristics can completely change the story of a coin. This is where the world of rare coin collecting becomes exciting. Because sometimes the coin everyone ignores is the one that deserves a second look. For decades, Americans have tossed pennies into containers, saved them in family collections, or left them forgotten in old boxes. But what if one of those coins carried a hidden surprise? What if the difference between a common penny and a valuable discovery was a tiny detail most people never notice? That question is exactly why collectors examine coins so carefully. A 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally did not receive a mint mark during this era. By itself, that feature does not make every 1994 penny rare. The real excitement comes from unusual examples, including coins with exceptional preservation, striking mistakes, or rare characteristics that separate them from millions of others. Think about it. A penny that once bought almost nothing could become a piece of history. It is like finding a forgotten baseball card in an attic or an old painting behind a dusty wall. The object itself may look ordinary, but its story can make it extraordinary. And here is where many people make a mistake. They assume old coins are valuable only because of their age. But collectors know that age is just one piece of the puzzle. Rarity, condition, demand, and unique features all work together to determine a coin's true potential. Could a special 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny really attract attention from serious collectors and reach incredible auction prices? Some rare coin enthusiasts believe exceptional examples with unusual qualities can command dramatic values, with some estimates reaching as high as $994,000 in extraordinary cases. While not every coin will reach that level, the possibility is what keeps thousands of people searching. So before you spend that old penny, ask yourself one important question. Are you holding a common coin, or are you holding a hidden piece of American history? The next time you open an old collection, check your change carefully. Look for details, protect the condition, and never underestimate the smallest treasures. Because across America, rare coins are still being discovered, and the next unbelievable find could be sitting somewhere completely unexpected. That forgotten penny in your home might not just represent 1 cent. It might represent a story, a piece of history, and a chance to uncover something far more valuable than anyone imagined. What if the ordinary penny sitting forgotten in your drawer, your old jar of coins, or even your pocket change could be hiding a secret worth nearly $1 million? It sounds unbelievable, but history has shown us that some Lincoln pennies have transformed from everyday currency into incredible treasures. And today, we are uncovering the mystery behind the 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that has collectors searching, sellers paying attention, and treasure hunters wondering if they could be holding a life-changing discovery. For most people, a penny is just a penny, something you might drop in your car cup holder or toss into a container and forget about. But experienced collectors know something different. They know that the smallest details can sometimes create the biggest opportunities. A tiny mistake, an unusual feature, or a rare condition can completely change a coin's story. The 1995 Lincoln penny was produced during a fascinating era in American coin history. Millions were created for everyday use, carrying the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. At first glance, these coins appear common, but in the world of numismatics, appearances can be deceiving. Here is where the story becomes interesting. A no-mint Mark Lincoln penny means the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally did not receive a mint letter. But collectors understand that not every coin is identical. Some examples may contain unusual characteristics, errors, or exceptional qualities that make them stand apart from millions of others. And this is the moment where many people make a costly mistake. They assume old coins are only valuable because of age. But age is just one piece of the puzzle. Rarity, condition, demand, and unique features are what can create incredible value. Imagine finding a 1995 penny while cleaning out an old family collection. Maybe it was saved decades ago by a parent or grandparent. Maybe it was sitting unnoticed in a box for years. Would you spend it for 1 cent without looking closer? That single decision could mean missing an opportunity that collectors dream about. Now, before you start turning your house upside down searching every penny jar, remember this. Not every 1995 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny is automatically worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The highest values are connected to extraordinary examples with specific characteristics that attract serious collectors and investors. But that is exactly why careful examination matters. Think about it this way. A winning lottery ticket is worthless if you never check the numbers. A rare coin is no different. The treasure only matters when someone recognizes what they have. The excitement surrounding rare Lincoln pennies continues to grow because collectors are always searching for the next hidden discovery. Some coins that once appeared ordinary have later shocked owners with their auction results. That possibility creates a powerful question. Could another overlooked penny still be waiting in someone's collection right now? The potential market value discussed by collectors for exceptional examples of rare Lincoln pennies can reach astonishing levels, with some highly sought-after coins bringing prices that seem impossible for a 1-cent piece. Stories of coins selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars continue to fuel interest among treasure hunters across America. So before you ignore that old penny collection, take a closer look. Check the date, examine the details, and understand the history behind the coin. The difference between a common coin and a valuable treasure may be smaller than you think. Because sometimes, the path to discovering hidden wealth does not begin with a huge investment. Sometimes it begins with a single penny that everyone else overlooked. And the next rare Lincoln cent waiting to be discovered might not be in a museum. It might be sitting quietly in someone's home right now, waiting for the right person to recognize its true story. Imagine finding a small copper-colored coin hiding in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even your everyday pocket change, only to discover that this tiny piece of metal could be worth a fortune. For many collectors across America, the dream of uncovering a rare Lincoln penny is not just a fantasy. It is a real possibility, and the 1997 Lincoln 1-cent penny has become one of the coins catching the attention of treasure hunters searching for extraordinary finds. At first glance, the 1997 Lincoln penny looks like an ordinary coin. Millions were produced at the Denver Mint, and most examples are still worth only their face value. But in the world of rare coins, ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hide extraordinary secrets. The difference between a common penny and a valuable collectible often comes down to small details, unusual errors, exceptional condition, and the story behind the coin. This is where the excitement begins. Collectors know that one tiny mistake during the minting process can transform a simple penny into a prized discovery. A misplaced detail, a striking error, or a rare variation can create a coin that collectors compete fiercely to own. And while most people ignore pennies sitting in their homes, experienced collectors understand that every coin has a story waiting to be uncovered. Think about it for a moment. How many pennies have passed through your hands without a second look? How many have disappeared into containers, old collections, or forgotten boxes? Sometimes the difference between spending a penny and preserving a potential treasure is just a few seconds of attention. Yes, your wallet might not be a gold mine, but that old coin jar could be a tiny archaeological excavation. The 1997 D. Lincoln penny has gained interest among enthusiasts because certain examples with rare characteristics and outstanding quality can command significant attention in the marketplace. Some highly desirable specimens have been reported with values reaching extraordinary levels, with rare examples being discussed around figures approaching $997,000 depending on authenticity, condition, and collector demand. But before you start imagining a private island made of pennies, remember this: knowledge is the real treasure. The most successful collectors learn how to examine coins carefully, understand grading, recognize unusual features, and avoid overlooking valuable details. The future of coin collecting is becoming more exciting every year. As more people search through old collections and family keepsakes, rare discoveries continue to emerge. That means the next valuable Lincoln penny might already be sitting somewhere unnoticed. So the next time you receive a 1997 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny, do not rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Check the details, because history has shown us again and again that sometimes the smallest objects can hold the biggest surprises. The question is not whether valuable coins are still out there. The question is whether you will be the person who finds one.